Now, let's review the paragraph where the concept of Taichi is discussed. Therefore, the hexagrams start from Taichi. From Taichi comes the two forms, that is, the straight line and the broken line. From the two forms come the four symbols. From the four symbols come the 8 trigrams. Using the trigrams, the sages decided whether an action will bring about fortune or misfortune. Knowing the fortune or misfortune of a plan lead to great accomplishment. From these passages, we can infer that E is the hexagram, modeling the observed changes in the human and nature world as well as the divination process. But unlike the ancient divination conducted with the oracle bones, the Book of Changes is not just a method for divination, it also provides observed and accumulated experiences when interpreting the hexagram to predict how things are going to turn out. So, if E is the model for changes, then Taichi can be understood as the initial mental or spiritual state before a hexagram was obtained. If we interpret this paragraph as a description of a divination process, it can be illustrated by this diagram. Taichi is the initial ambiguous state before a divination is performed. By performing the divination technique, one gets some result, and by consulting the commentaries from the Book of Changes, one can predict the possible outcomes of an action. So basically, a divination process is like this. If one throws a coin, one gets 2 possible outcomes. That is, the yang form or the straight line, and the yin form or the broken line. If one throws a coin twice, there are 4 different combinations of the straight line and the broken line, representing 4 possible outcomes. If one throws the coin 3 times to obtain a trigram, one gets 8 trigrams, representing 8 outcomes. These actions create the initial 8 trigrams divided by Fuxi. If one throws a coin 6 times, one gets 64 possible outcomes. These are the hexagrams expanded by Qingwen. So, Taichi can be understood as an epistemological concept representing the ambiguous or confused mental or spiritual state before a divination is performed. It was not until the Han Dynasty the concept of Taichi started to acquire some ontological connotation to mean the ultimate harmonious state of yin and yang. The concept often appeared in the discussion about maintaining health by the Western Han philosopher Dong Zhongshu. Here is a quote from Dong Zhongshu. The ways of yin and yang are different. They all start from the center, reach their peaks, then stop at the center again. This center is the Taichi of heaven and earth. The next significant contribution to the concept of Taichi was made by a Tang Dynasty scholar official named Kong Yingda. He compiled a commentary to the Book of Change in the title of 周易正义, the correct interpretation of the Book of Changes. Here is a quote from his commentary. Taichi is the undifferentiated primal qi before the heaven and earth were formed, when the primal qi was still intact as the One. It is also called the Great Beginning or the Great One. Hence, Dao De Jing states, Dao gave rise to One. This is Taichi. The Book of Changes also states that once the undifferentiated One splits, there are the heaven and earth. Hence, it is called Taichi gave rise to the 2 forms. This is what the Dao De Jing called one gives rise to 2. The most important work in defining Taichi was done by the Northern Song Dynasty philosopher Zhou Dunyi in his short essay, 太极图说, or the illustration of the Taichi diagram. Here is a quote from his essay. From Wuji comes Taichi. Taichi moves and the yang arises. Yang reaches its peak, then comes down. The calmness gave rise to yin. Yin reaches its bottom and triggers movement again. Now it moves, now it comes down. The movement and the calmness are the roots of each other. Yin and yang differentiate from each other and the two forms are established. Yang brings changes and yin brings closer. The movement of yin and yang gave rise to the 5 phases of water, fire, wood, metal, and earth. The qi of 5 phases take their turns to spread, leading to the transitions of the 4 seasons. The 5 phases unify yin and yang. Yin and yang unify Taichi. Taichi is rooted in Wuji. As you can see in this paragraph, what is described here is the cosmic transformations and their dynamical patterns. This theory integrates all the key Taoist concepts such as Wuji, Yin-Yang, the 5 phases, etc. This theory was further developed by the New Confucian philosophers such as the Chen Hao and Chen Yi brothers and the great Song philosopher Zhu Xi into a full-fledged Confucianist metaphysics. The concept of Taichi had finally obtained an ontological connotation. That is, it is not only representing the mental state, but also representing the Tao itself. Here is a quote from Zhu Xi's 太极图说复解, or an additional interpretation on the illustration of the Taichi diagram. Taichi is the Tao of things beyond the physical shapes. Yin and Yang are its vessels in physical shapes. Observing it in its manifestation, one sees its movement and calmness at different times. The expressions of yin and yang qualities at different phases. And Taichi is everywhere. Observing it in its subtleties, one dissolves his ego and obtains clarity. And the patterns of yin and yang movement unfold themselves completely. I'm Dr. Gao, a philosopher specialized in classical Chinese philosophies. I make videos about the classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, and medical literature. If you like the content of my videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So if you would like to read the original Chinese text with me, please contact me. Here's my email address. Thanks for watching my video. I'll see you next time.